You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
Time to fire up the VCR. This one's my favorite. That was gold.
Welcome to Analog Jones in the Temple of Film. I'm Steve, and we're a VHS podcast that looks at the box art trailers behind the scenes. And this week, we have a returning special guest, a man that needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. Matt Kelly from Horror Movie Night.
Hey, I almost was going to say I'm not a returning guest, but I forgot I was on that Happy Time Murders episode.
Yeah, where the puppets aren't that funny.
No, and I found out something at the convention I was just at, is that one of the puppeteers, specifically the puppeteer for the octopus, was Tarman from Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, no shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, he after Return of the Living Dead, he just started working for the Henson Corporation and has been doing all types of projects since like the early 80s. I was checking his projects, and he even did puppeteering for the Muppet Vision 3D at Disney World. So I was like, well, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, it is. You know what isn't dope? The movie called The Vineyard.
Something beyond horror is happening here. Within this island. Inside this mansion. And underneath this earth. A secret that lies buried. In the vineyard. This is a passageway to unholy evil. An evil ruled by one man. A man without a soul. Show me a way, Lord! Who survives on the souls of others. They must die so that he may live. There is a place where your deepest fears come alive. The Vineyard.
Yeah, this was a little bit of a weird one, but man, what a cover. Because that's what got me to buy it from VHS PS.
So you'll have to tell me what your cover is. Because our cover that we have here is James Hong in makeup with a like lightning all behind him and he's drinking wine.
Okay, so ours is he's all old and like decrepit looking, and he's holding a vial in his hand and looking at it in a very like Hamlet pure Yorick kind of way.
Do you have the lightning all in the background that's like flashing, kind of looks like it's coming out of his ears?
Let me double check real quick. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah. No, he's got some light. It looks like the lightning is actually coming out of the glass in this one. So he's got the glass of wine, and then there's the elixir right in the front. And it just says, "An island of death fueled by the blood of its victims, starring James Hong." And then in parentheses, "Big Trouble in Little China, Golden Child, the Black Widow."
Yeah, yours is just a tad bit different, I think, because I don't have that. I have widescreen presentation on mine. But either way, yeah, when I saw this VHS cover and then I saw who it was, James Hong, I'm like, well, this looks weird. I'm totally buying it.
Yeah, it's a strange one. And I think I bought it because we've been trying to do this specific episode for almost a year. At one point, you had sent me like a video rip of it. And then scheduling became a nightmare. And then I was at, I think it was Monster Mania, and they had replenished their copies of The Vineyard. So I made sure to grab it when I was trying to get my 5 for $25.
Well, it's directed and written by a creepy old man. No, it's not Bill Cosby. Is it Harvey Weinstein? Nope. It's the other less known creepy guy who apparently likes to fondle women throughout the entire movie. This had to be written and directed by James Wong. just because he wanted to touch a bunch of 25-year-old girls.
Yeah, you look at this and he's got an acting credit, a producing credit, a story credit, a screenplay credit, and a directing credit. So this was really a passion of love for him.
Love for titties.
Yeah, there are so many girls that do not need to be accepting roles to be topless in the Vineyard in this movie. Like, you're just kind of like, there's a certain level of schlock where you should just kind of be like, oh, this is a bad idea for me.
Well, he had to be riding a high from Big Trouble in Little China, right?
True. This was pre-Wayne's World 2.
Yeah. Well, Wayne's World 2, that was in the 90s.
Yeah, that's what I meant. This was predates it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I know him from, which is embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't know how they got this together, because a lot of the makeup, while would look good if you and I did it, it kind of feels like a Goosebumps episode makeup level.
Oh my god, there's the one scene where he reveals that he's wearing a mask, and I'm like, the only way that this pulls off as like an actual scare is the fact that it's not that far off from the real makeup when he's like an old man. Like, it's so clearly a mask.
I heard, I don't know if this is true, I didn't look it up, but I heard he was 60 years old when he made this movie. So how old is he now? 1,000? I think that math adds up.
Yeah, that's right. That's how the math works for that. Because it's like dog years. So like every year is about 7 or 8 years.
Let's read the back of this VHS. I've got, yes, here we go. Here's the little tagline. Something beyond the horror is happening in the Vineyard. Veteran actor James Hong from Blade Runner and Chinatown co-wrote, co-directed, and stars in this horror shocker as Dr. Elson Poe, a master winemaker with a mysterious past and a voracious appetite for beautiful women. But when Poe lures a group of lusty young actresses to his secluded island winery, his guests find themselves trapped in a deadly weekend of sexual brutality and black magic. Will these nubile prisoners survive the fury of Poe's depraved henchmen? What is the shocking ingredient in Poe's precious wine? And who can contain the horrific army of undead that lies buried in the Vineyard?
So I want to read the back of mine because it's completely different, but both of them seem to have this idea that they need to really expand on the entire plot line on the back of the box. Mine says, take a tour of the Vineyard, a terrifying excursion into the depths of horror, where bloody secrets are buried in the soil and the vines are ripe with evil. Dr. Poe, James Hong, is a man whose obsession with the forbidden secrets of immortality has turned him into an expert in black magic. For centuries, he has survived by drinking a hideous potion contorted from the blood of young women, wine from the vineyard fertilized by the bodies of young men, and particles scraped from the mysterious jade amulet. To feed his voracious appetite for blood and bodies, Poe lures young victims to his island of death, and one by one they are struck down by his dark magic to join the other victims in their demonic dungeons. In the blood-chilling climax, the guardian of the amulet awakens the island's dead who overwhelm and kill Poe. But can anything that evil stay dead for long? Running time, 95 minutes.
Wow, your description was so long.
And it tells you how the movie ends.
I guess they just, like, maybe if we tell you everything, you won't be surprised. Maybe you'll buy it. I don't know.
As you were reading yours, I was like, I can't read along because mine's super different. But mine has a spoiler in the back of the box.
Well, this is truly a movie that throws everything at you. There was black magic. There's young actresses trying to get ahead. There's fondling of young women. There's people chained up in a basement. There's zombies for some damn reason. There's a flashback to a mom and a samurai. Yeah. And then we have like all these diverse henchmen. We had a Chinese henchman, 2 big black henchmen, one with long hair, one with short hair, and a fat redhead henchman. And then you had a white trash henchman. I was like, what is going on here?
Now, what I like about this movie is that it's basically just the wine version of Motel Hell when you really think about it. But my favorite character is the random strong guy who talks like Bill and Ted throughout the movie when he's just like, You know,
Oh, yeah.
they're introducing all these characters, just like Dr. Poe, most excellent to come and hang out at your vineyard, sir. You're just like, oh wow, this is 1989. This is definitely 1989.
Well, I mean, to set it up, they already did it. We've read the descriptions, but a bunch of actors go to this secluded island where he makes wine. But my biggest question is, did Dr. Poe make wine, or did he make blood that he just drank that looked like wine?
I think it was blood mixed into the wine.
Did the wine make him younger, or the amulet? Well, he drank the wine and then he became younger, but is that only because of the amulet?
I guess you could conclude that, maybe? The movie's got a lot of questions that the back of the boxes don't want to answer.
No, and without the back of the box, we will never get an explanation. I just don't get... There was so much shit in here. I couldn't figure out if they just had a bunch of props lying around and that's what told the story, or if someone actually wrote this shit down.
I mean, according to the back of my box, James Hong wrote it. So...
Yeah. Or co-wrote it, whatever that means.
Did you get any trailers at the start of yours? Because mine had one trailer, and I kind of wish we were watching that instead, to be totally frank.
No, didn't get a trailer. What'd you get?
I got Pin from 1988, which is an amazing Canadian horror film that most people haven't seen.
Well, no, I didn't get any trailers, and that sucks. But I do have a lot of questions. But before we get into the questions, I do have one statement. Right when this movie starts, it shows Dr. Poe, whatever the guy's name is, shooting at a dog, trying to, I think, unbury a zombie. And right away, I was like, if you want me to hate a character, in the first 5 minutes, have him shooting at a dog. I was like, fuck you, James Hong.
Which also, like, side note, these zombies, quote unquote, don't seem like they've been buried very well. Like, their like head and arms are just very clearly visible from the ground.
No, they're very just kind of lackadaisical with how they bury their dead. So I'm assuming these dead zombies are what happens to his victims after he drains them of all their blood. But they never explain that, do they?
Yeah, so like that's the thing. According to the back of the box, which is not what it is explained in the movie, that he survives on the blood that's from young women, and that the wine in the vineyard is fertilized by the body of the men. So...
Wow. That was never in the movie.
No.
If it's not in the back of that box... No. You know your movie's bad when you have to read the VHS description to understand it.
Yeah, no, it is. This is not a good movie. It's not even like I don't know when I'm ever going to pop this in again. Probably never.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
What a cover. Like this movie really does represent, like, when you talk about how the 80s knew how to make a cover that could sell you dog shit, like this is a prime example.
Well, yeah, and see, at the beginning of this movie, he's, seducing this young woman who wants nothing to do with him, and then bangs the mechanic, and then he has to send his little bitty henchman with a really bad mustache and kind of a mullet going on,
just a bit,
yeah. And then he's got that huge knife, but I love how we get a little pitchfork foo.
Yeah.
Right before his death.
When he has the line, castrate him. And
then,
like, this movie is bonkers. Like, this, but, like, it sucks because, like, in a slightly more capable hand, this could be really fun to watch, but it never really gets fully fun to watch. It's just weird.
Yeah. Well, I think they were trying to do weird like John Carpenter did in Big Trouble in Little China, where there's so much shit going on, but it worked because you had, Carpenter and all of his people doing it. This small crew, whoever put this together, just didn't understand how to get all these mismatched parts and put them together. And to me, they're just like, we'll just do a bunch of scenes and then fix it in editing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's a really good way to sum it up because, like, there's moments where I'm just like, what is happening? Like, there's the dance sequence that goes way too long. Like, a lot of this movie goes way too long. That's the other big thing.
I know, this movie drags, and it's only 90 minutes.
Yeah, and I feel like a big chunk of this movie was, we promised that this movie was going to be 90 minutes, so we need to, like, find a way to make that work out for us.
You know, James Wong, or whatever, Dr. Po gets all these actors from this really creepy gay German agent. I think his accent was German. I don't know.
Up for debate.
Yeah. And then he brings him a bunch of actors, and he's done it a bunch of times, and he gets payments. And apparently if he asks for a raise, he gets killed by Ivan, my favorite henchman, the fat, curly-headed redhead. The curly-haired, redhead, fat henchman. I love it. They get a bunch of these, and they're most stereotypical 80s people. We've got the smart guy. We've got the beautiful blonde, who actually was a Playboy playmate. And her character's name was Jezebel Fairchild. Holy shit, that's so like 70s, 80s. And every time someone yelled, Jezebel, I cracked up.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, like, because I guess, you know, at a certain point, you're only like half watching this movie because it is not attention grabbing. And like,
nope.
I didn't catch that her actual name was Jezebel. I thought that they were basically just like calling her a harlot. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it was just, man, this movie would be better with Dusty Rhodes, though. That Jezebel.
Dusty Rhodes. Just stick some more wrestlers in there. It'd be amazing. Yeah.
I would listen. Yeah. You recast this with Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, and Macho Man Randy Savage. Now you got a movie. now I'm interested in the Vineyard.
Yeah. Who's going to be making the wine though? Is that Dusty? Or no? I think that's more of a Ric Flair thing.
No, Ric Flair's definitely the guy who's running the Vineyard and taking girls to Space Mountain. That's pure Flair right there. Macho Man would definitely be the bro-y guy. Dusty Rhodes is the filmmaker who's like reading in the books and figuring out the mystery for himself.
Yeah. Okay. I like this recasting. I think we have something here.
Yeah. Because, like, imagine Dusty confronting Ric Flair in that one scene. He's like, listen here, Mr. Flair. This piece of newspaper clipping right here says that you've been alive for over 100 years. How do you answer for yourself? Ooh. Like...
Oh, shit. I was enjoying listening to your little lisp there.
Yeah, well, and then they resolve everything at StarCast. Starcade! You and I, Vineyard match. Loser leaves town.
Ric Flair slaps the sword. What is it? He was wearing the...
slaps the amulet.
Yeah, slaps the amulet out of his hand. You ain't taking me down. Woo!
So, side note, since we got on to Ric Flair somehow, I work very closely with helping car dealerships merchandise their vehicles. And when I was looking at one of the videos that a car dealership had shot of their car, the one guy out of nowhere, 2 minutes in the video, he's showing off the truck and he just goes, because if you buy this truck, you'll be styling and profiling. Yes, my brother. Woo! And I was like, oh shit, we got a wrestling fan here.
That's great. What wasn't great was trying to figure out the freaking dance scene, which you already brought up, but this is my notes.
Jesus.
Why is James Poe or whatever? Why is Dr. Poe dancing? What the hell's going on? Why are they wearing costumes? Why is there a zombie outside the door? Why does Jezebel seem to fall in love with Dr. Poe? Why?
I feel like the only explanation that I can come up with is that James Hong was like, what would be great is like, I really, really have to update my acting reel, but I don't feel like going through all of my old movies. So what if I just make sure that all of my range is covered in a single movie and I can send that out as my acting reel from here on out?
Well, he hit it.
Yeah.
And they never, I didn't understand. I guess the zombie that was outside of the door there was supposed to be his zombie mother, but they never really tell you what's going on with the random, just wandering around zombie. They kind of do. They hint on it at the end, but at least when the kids were eating the treats at the party and the one guy goes, "Ugh, tastes like spider. At least that came back. Because I was really worried that really awkward line was just in there and they just left it in. But then later on, one of the characters has spiders hatch out of her mouth.
I mean, I will say that scene was great. My favorite kill is the acupuncture death because it's the only one that's like, oh, that's something I've never seen before.
Yeah, I agree. And I also didn't know that acupuncture made your libido speed up. That sounds like a correct science.
Yeah, no, yeah. This whole movie.
Well, and you know what's also funny is the main guy who like saves them at the end, the blonde dude, I don't know his name at all. All I know is he was trying to hook up with Jezebel and she wanted nothing to do with him.
Yeah. Well, he had that acupuncture just pumping through his veins.
Well, no, that was the other guy. The other athlete who I don't even remember them introducing, who was just there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm assuming that was part of when we introduced the first 4 people, he's just like, let's meet the rest of the party. And then it just jump cuts to the dancing scene. So,
oh, okay. So I was wondering where all these other people came from. They're like, okay, they were late to the party, so to speak, or whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Or just in time, depending on how you like to party.
Yeah. You got to arrive fashionably late, which
Yeah,
Jezebel did.
I like to party.
That's right. And it really just frustrated me throughout this, trying to figure out why there is a flashback to his mom. And then at the end of the movie, the amulet made his mom transform back to herself into a ghost.
Yeah, none of it makes sense. But like that scene in particular was like, it was almost like what they were trying to say was he was about to kill this guy, but then he remembered that he has a sword in his hand and a sword killed his mother. So I'm not going to kill this guy now. Like that was like the logic I feel like they were trying to give us. But like,
yeah, I don't know.
It didn't make any fucking sense. None of it made sense.
Yeah, and Jeremy, that was the name of the character. Is like he's the only one who figures Dr. Poe out. But how could you not know Dr. Poe was a creep?
Yeah, well, and like, so this is the thing that always bothers me in these, Fountain of Youth movies or whatever. Like, I forget which movie or book or whatever. There was something I read where people live forever, and like maybe it was Interview with the Vampire. They explain that like you have to live a certain amount of time and then you have to kill yourself off and move somewhere else because eventually people are going to notice that you've been around for a really long time and haven't aged a day. But like this dude is publicly having wine. He is an infamous man who runs a winery. So like where is his exit plan on this living forever without people figuring it out plan?
I don't know because he doesn't have a son or anything. I don't know. Yeah, you think he'd almost have to like plan out his escape, about, I don't know, 25 years in. Like, well, I'm going to have to, figure this out. Do I burn down this winery and then start a new one?
But even then, like if he does that, people are still going to be like, man, that guy looks exactly like Dr. Poe. And also his wine tastes exactly the same as Dr. Poe's. I'm pretty sure that this guy's Dr. Poe.
You figured it out, detective. Yeah, you're right. It just, this movie's not thinking that far ahead. But when
not
they
thinking, period. You
it's not. Yeah, there. it's just reacting. Hey, look! I found this mask. Cool. I'll put it on and dance at a party, and then trick everyone. It's a pretty shitty mask. I don't care.
And what a shitty trick! Like, let's be upfront about that much.
Yeah.
That trick sucked.
Well, the whole party, and then the creepy agent who was hitting on the guy in drag. Like,
yeah, very noticeably in drag. Like,
yes, yeah. Like, I was like, I really thought they were going to go down that avenue. Like, maybe he'd give him some drugs and fondle him a little bit.
It's possible because it's 1989 and this movie has no self-respect for itself. But like, it's the laziest drag known to man. Like, RuPaul would have told them to sashay away if they had come up on that runway like that. Because it's just a wig. He's just wearing a wig. He's wearing his regular ass clothes and a wig. Like, there's nothing that even remotely screams, I'm actually a woman. It says, I'm a guy who's going to a party and think that this is still funny and acceptable in 2019. That's the costume that he's wearing.
Yep. And I guess my last question is the very end, where he's doing this ceremony on Jezebel, and we have no idea why he's chosen Jezebel. At least I didn't catch it. That,
No.
I don't know, because she's blonde and has big boobs.
I'm sure that's mostly it. I think it's mostly just who he's feeling like boning that particular night is who is like the special one.
Yeah, at least in Big Trouble, we had it because they were green eyes. The girls had the special green eyes, and they're the ones he's got to marry and yada, yada, whatever that is. This one, nope, just blonde. And so he's doing all this ceremony, and all the zombies are rising, and we find out the only way to kill the zombies is with sacred earth, which is just a bag of dirt.
Yeah, it's a very convenient plot point.
Yeah, but what I don't get is, like, if it kills them, how come you just don't bury them in sacred dirt?
Do we need to go back to the box that I read where those bodies have to fertilize the vineyard?
Oh, okay. Man, this is a long process to stay forever young. You have to capture men, turn them into zombies to fertilize your grapes. Then you have to pluck the grapes, turn it into wine, mix it with the young girls' blood, and then drink it with the amulet.
Yeah. No, it's very involved. It's a lot different than my way of staying forever young, which is listening to Alphaville and singing along to the song Forever Young.
And you got to keep rocking, bruh. Yeah, and they try to, and this is a shitty movie where they try to set up a sequel where you think James Hong is dead because he drops his amulet in green goo and then puts his face in the green goo. And
again, back of the box even is like ends with a lead into the sequel that doesn't exist.
Oh man, and it would be just puffy face James Hong. Like, his face was so puffy in that like zombie old man makeup.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like you could do so much more with this. Like, what if he turned into a giant grape? Just a giant grape from all that wine.
Oh yeah, and they squished him and then made more wine.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he's possessing people. Then you don't even bring him into the movie. It's that he's just hopping from body to body like Jason Goes to Hell.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah, finally, someone's talking somewhat positively about Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah, so Vineyard
Not many
2,
do.
We've got the plot written out. We're ready to rock.
Let's do this. It's never going to happen. I just don't have the heart. I knew it. You know what shocked me is I saw the Arrow Films release this in 2013, but then I noticed it was only for the UK.
Yeah. Well, like, so here's the thing that I always have to remember with this. And it was a piece of advice someone gave me that whatever the worst movie is that you've ever seen, it's probably at least one person's favorite movie of all time. And, there's probably someone in the world who fucking loves The Vineyard. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be one.
I'm sure there's one, but there's not even enough nudity in this to like it for that. I expected,
but they throw it out there right out the gate. That shocked me right away. I was like, man, there's like a boob in 2 minutes.
Yeah, but then they kind of like don't have boobs in there, but they have girls like barely wearing anything. I honestly thought right when this started and they're like, hey, look, boob. I was like, oh no, it's gonna be one of these.
Yeah.
But
it
wasn't.
It is a sleazy. See, here's the thing. I'm going to say all this stuff, and it's going to sound like I'm praising the movie, but at the end of the day, it's a bad movie. But it's like a sleazy, bonkers, weird movie. But like, it's never good. Like, there's one good moment. One.
Yeah.
And I'm going to save that for the vault.
Well, and there's barely any gore.
That's the one good moment, is the closest we get to gore. And even then, it's like someone spraying a ketchup packet.
Yeah. All right, then. I mean, We introduced it. Let's move on to the museum.
This is the second time I've had to reclaim my property from you.
That belongs in a museum.
So do you.
This is the part of the show where we go out like Indy into the film jungle and bring something back for our museum. Matt, what is going in your visitors' side of the museum? Good or bad, whatever you want.
Acupuncture death.
It's a good one.
100%. It's the only moment in this entire movie that for even a split second sparked some type of, oh, hey, in me when I was watching it. So, acupuncture death.
Okay.
Locking it in.
My positive one is fat redheaded Ivan because he chops off that one guy's head. And I was like, yeah!
Yeah, that is a pretty solid moment too. The decapitation's not too bad. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it was one of those two where they cut away because they probably couldn't afford, cutting off a mannequin's head, I guess. But it was such a good thud sound effect. Yeah. It made me laugh. But the bad portion of this is, listen, you can't just put everything in a movie that you found in some retired special effects man's basement. Okay? You can't throw everything in there. I get it, James Hong. You were looking for a real, a movie that you could package, just like Matt said, but you can't do it because it just never really works out, except for that one guy in Canada who likes this. He'll remain nameless. His name is Jerry.
Oh, God damn it, Jerry. Your bad taste in film.
Terrible. Do we count this as a zombie film, or what is this? Is it a fountain? How do we classify this?
This is trash, is what we classify it as. But if we had to go with a subgenre, it's not zombie enough for it to be zombie. This would I
know it's a tough one, right?
Yeah, I don't even know. I guess Fountain of Youth horror, is that it? Accidental cannibalism, maybe? Is he selling the blood in the wine that people are going crazy bidding for, or is that just regular ass wine?
Yeah, accidental cannibalism I could see.
And I'm only saying that because it reminds me so much of Motel Hell, which is a definitive accidental cannibalism movie.
Well, and the same thing with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 when he's selling the chili.
Yeah. But those are both movies that are far better to watch than this. It's like sorcery / zombie / accidental cannibalism. So yes, we'll put that in the no one gives a fuck section. So did you look at how this was received? Most of the ratings on Wikipedia say that people kind of liked it.
No, there's a lot. I read a lot of, just horror movie, old-timey, old-timey, I mean 10 years. People, when they write on the internets, before we had podcasts and we can talk about it. But yeah, a lot of them are as long as you turn off your brain and just accept that none of the questions will be answered, it's a fun movie. And I like this sentence. Food and Wine magazine called it the greatest wine-centric B horror movie. That popular old genre of wine-centric B horror films. I can't. Yeah, I don't think that exists. I think this is the only one. What? I'm just saying, I understand the line where you have to turn off your brain to enjoy it. But with this one, I can't accept as long as you understand, none of the questions will be answered. I just don't like that. When a film frustrates me with questions, I just can't do it. It's not going to be a good film ever in my mind. Well, I can't say that. I'm sure there's one out there, but this one is not it.
All right, real quick. I went to Food and Wine's website. So their article was 5 reasons why The Vineyard is the greatest wine-centric B horror film that you can stream this Halloween. These are their top 5 reasons. Number 1, it's a James Hong production. Number 2, it's a horror movie about wine. Number 3, there are boobs. Number 4, the hero is a journalist. And number 5, you don't have to know anything about wine to be able to watch it. Those are some of the lowest standards I've ever seen.
Was this a high school writer?
I mean,
yuck.
foodandwine.com.
Yeah, you guys aren't. It's not high praise from Analog Jones here. Your list is trash.
It's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
That's pretty much going to wrap it up in the Vineyard. I knew this would be a short episode because there's just nothing on this film.
No, it's a 90-minute movie that no one talks about except for foodandwine.com. And it's only got about 5 to 10 minutes of actual plot inside of it. And even that is all muddled and confusing. And the special effects are nothing to write home about. And most of the kills aren't anything to write home about. So it really does leave you with very little to really cling to and have a nice, good, in-depth discussion on. But man, what a VHS cover.
Yeah, at least it's good. Mine, where the lightning's coming out of the ears, and yours is where it's coming out of the wine glass.
Either way, pretty damn exciting.
Yeah, all right. Well, you can listen to us on anything that provides podcasts, I think. I don't really go through them individually, but iTunes, Podbean, you know what they are. Catch us on YouTube. I'll put a couple clips from this movie up on there, and trust me, it won't be hard to find the exciting ones because they're barely there.
Mm-hmm.
But I will put that dance. That dance is going up because everyone needs to watch that.
I was positive that's what you were going to put in the museum. I didn't want to say anything, but I thought for sure the dance scene was going to be the museum.
I had to go
piece.
negative, though, because I'm kind of the negative guy in the podcast just because everyone else, both Matts that I invite on, are so positive.
See, but that's the problem is that I know you in real life, and you're not a very negative person usually, so it seems so out of character to me.
Oh, really? Well, I complained about the Playboy Playmate not having any boobs in this. Why do you get a Playboy Playmate and not have her have boobs? I mean, she has boobs, but show boobs.
I mean, that is a valid complaint. But yeah, okay, fair enough. You can be the negative guy. I'm just saying, don't be fooled, listeners.
Yeah.
Steven's a very positive, upbeat human being.
Shit, don't tell him my secret.
It's all an act.
It is. You can catch Matt on pretty much the podcast that inspired us to have a podcast on Horror Movie Night.
Aww.
But you'll probably maybe want to advertise some of your other ones?
Well, so at this point, there's only 2 now. The Boy Meets World one has been officially axed just because it was a lot of work for little reward. But yes, Horror Movie Night, hmmpodcast.com, where I don't know when this episode's coming out, but we are just a day away from dropping our 200th episode at the time that we're recording, which is fucking wild. It's wild to think that we've done 200 episodes. And there is the Disneydo podcast, which just passed 50 episodes last month. And that is 2 of my friends. They get drunk on wine. Ooh, what a tie-in. And talk about Disney. So really, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I love The Vineyard. It's the perfect movie for me to talk about both podcasts that I work on with one film.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. All right. Did you catch Aladdin?
I did. And I don't know what the critics have been shitting on so much, because for the most part, I thought it was delightful.
I just didn't. I was numb. I'm like, okay. I mean, I like Will Smith, but that's not fair. I'm like the biggest Will Smith fan. So
it's just very inoffensive. Like the way that people have been acting about it, you'd think that this movie like stormed into everybody's house and set their actual copy of Aladdin on fire. Like it did what it was supposed to do. I don't think that my biggest complaint about Aladdin is that for some reason the genie and Aladdin do this weird talk singing instead of just singing for most of their songs. And that bothered me a bunch. But otherwise, I had a good time. It's not, it's not going to be in my top 10 of the year or anything, but I didn't hate that I watched it.
Yeah, if I had to review it, it would just be like, I like those songs in the past. They're okay now. Kind of wondering why they're all so clean all the time. That was kind of just, I was like, he's a street rat. How about we get him a little dirty?
Yeah, throw a little bit of dirt up in there. So when he's Prince Ali, it's like, oh, that's that beautiful face.
Yes.
That was hidden behind all that dirt.
But really, it was like the most, did what it needed to do. I just really think people were searching for a reason to hate it.
Yeah, I'm way more excited for Lion King. I have a feeling that the Lion King is going to be so close to the original cartoon brought to life that I'm going to have kind of similar feelings to there was a moment when I watched the Beauty and the Beast live action, which I know a lot of people dislike, and it's totally understandable why they would. But there's a shot where Emma Watson is singing Belle up in the giant field, and it's such a beautiful recreation of that animated scene that, like, for a split second, my heart was just like, oh my God. Like, it was just, I never thought I would see something from animation brought to life so perfectly. And I have a feeling that that's how I'm going to feel when I walk away from The Lion King, is that it's just going to really bring back all of that nostalgia for me. Whereas Aladdin was just kind of there. It was different enough that it didn't feel like I was watching a carbon copy, but it was also similar enough that I didn't feel like I was being challenged by anything new.
Print it up, boys! Right from Matt Kelly. Aladdin was there. Just there.
Yep. I mean, I'll tell you what. Can we talk about the fact that in like a month we're going to be hanging out?
Yeah.
We haven't seen each other in like a year.
So it's going to be incredible. I have never been to San Diego Comic-Con, and I get to go as a representation of Geekscape, and I get to hang out with Matt Kelly. I mean, I get to hang out with so many people that who knows if I ever would have got to meet if I didn't do this podcast and join Geekscape.
And you've got the press credentials, and I mean, that's the next month is going to be, your inbox is going to take a beating over this next month. Is like, you just start getting press information after press information, interview opportunity after interview opportunity. Yeah. So it's going to be a good time. I will just be hanging out at the booth.
Oh, you're just gonna be chilling at the booth,
Yeah, I'm an exhibitor, not a press, so I don't get to do too much press stuff. But that's fine because we have some pretty cool people lined up that are going to be signing at the table throughout the weekend. I know that ones that I feel confident enough to officially announce is that we're going to have J-Tro from FP and FP2 at the table.
Awesome.
Becca and Dave McKendry of All the Creatures We're Stirring and the Shockwaves podcast will be hanging out with us. Ashley and Jason from Geek History Lesson. I believe Mega Ran will also be hanging out at our table for a little bit. And then there's a shit ton of other people that we're still in communication with to try to figure out. But those are the ones that are kind of mainstays. It looks like Sean and Rudy from the Monster Squad will be joining us for a day. But, the official list will be out soon. But those are some of the names that we've been talking to who have been very receptive to joining us. So who knows?
Who knows what adventures Matt and Steve will get into? All I know is I wish you would interview someone as Dusty Rhodes.
I mean, maybe one day.
That'd be so, or at least over the phone. Hey, it's Dusty Rhodes here.
You Jezebel.
That would be amazing because I think you could trick someone.
I can't lie. There is a radio show that I listen to that actually does Dusty Rhodes interviews, so I can't fully do it. I'd feel like I was stealing from their bit, but
shit.
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes. God bless him. I miss him. He was a true king of the ring.
Fun as hell. All right, that's going to end it for this week. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, you can catch us on, whatever you want that has podcasts, and get ready for the Geekscape squad being in San Diego Comic-Con. All right. And remember to be kind.
Rewind.
Bam! I thought for a second you forgot.
No, I used to have to rewind the tapes. Hey, do you guys like horror movies?
I do.
Do they always have to be good movies?
No way.
I prefer them to be crap, personally.
Well, then you guys are in luck, because Horror Movie Night is your expert podcast on both horror movies, good, bad, and gooey. It's just a show of three friends.
Two brothers and a friend, I think you would call it. But we're all friends here.
We're friends. We're all friends here.
Yeah.
We goof around, but we talk about movies, but we normally don't actually talk about the movies, which is kind of weird. It's a weird dynamic. You have to really listen to understand it. But we put together a show every Friday morning. You can find our show, hmnpodcast.com. We're part of the Geekscape Network. We are, we're good guys. You should check us out. We're good, silly guys. We're fun.
Please like me.
Please.
That's pretty much the impetus of everything we do, is to be accepted.
We want to be loved. hmnpodcast.com.